All right, here we go. Cooter Jr. here. We're working on the 6-liter LS for the Growler. Try to get that motor ready to hopefully go back in later this week. What we're gonna do, I just wanted to show you guys real quick. We're gonna pre-lube the oil system. So I have this, I'm not all fancy about linking stuff down below, but I have this Goodson pressure tank. You get one of these on Amazon or wherever, Goodson. I'm sure there's many out there. And you put your motor oil in there. You can put as much as you want. I use this on the diesel and put, a couple gallons in there. Then you'll fill it with air pressure, and there's a tube in there, so the air pressure will push the oil all the way up to this hose, and you have to tie it into your oiling system somewhere. So I opted to put it in right here because I have to put a new sending unit in here for my oil pressure gauge. You could put it in up through here where the factory oil pressure sender is. On these LSs, there's also a port here right off the side of the block, which normally would be covered. Power steering pump would be in this area if you're running a P-Series truck bracket. So you could put it in there, that little it's 12 or 14 millimeter plug, but we're gonna go right through there. Colin's gonna open the valve. We got 6 quarts of oil in here because, that's all the motor holds and that's all I had on the shelf. And then he pressurized it with air, shop air through this fitting. And the gauge is showing we got pressure in the tank. Now he's gonna open that little ball valve and the air pressure is gonna push the oil into the motor. And with any amount of luck, I hear something happening over here. We will see oil coming up. I'm going to turn the motor over a little bit just while this is happening. 6 quarts may not be enough to get oil all the way up here. I hope it is. Still have air pressure in there, kiddo?
Yeah. It hasn't really moved.
The pressure hasn't dropped?
No.
Okay. Well, it's coming. I can hear the air coming out of the oiling passageways. Yeah, see? You got oil coming up this push rod now, and there's oil in there. See right here?
Yeah.
So it is coming. It's working its way down all the oil bearing passageways, and let me turn this over a little bit. Don't forget, there's a lot of assembly lube in there. We've got oil coming out of this.
Should see oil. Some here.
We should see oil making its way up to the top of the motor. And it'll come up here and it'll run down. And
some more coming out of there.
Perfect. The biggest thing is we've got all the oil galley plugs in it. We don't have oil running out on the floor anywhere. So that's how that's going to go. We're going to go until this thing's out of air and out of oil. We may have to put more air in it. And that'll just make sure that the thing gets full of oil. Yeah, now we've got oil on a lot of these. At least that one, this one, some on that one. And we don't have an oil pressure gauge on here, so we have no idea what the pressure is. I don't think it's going to be very much. It's not probably going to be the same as the supply air in the tank. Yeah, we got oil on these now. Good. It's working its way up there. And then that oil that we're putting in, eventually when this is back in, the dipstick will go in this hole once the exhaust manifolds are on. He's fighting compression because we do have spark plugs screwed in here. We put plugs in it just so he could paint the block. I'm going to help you out here a little bit.
Yeah.
We did clean out all the push rods.
It's not tight, so it's kind of bypassing a little bit.
Yeah. All right, you get the idea, folks. That's how a pre-luber works, and you can see it's starting to pick up on all these. But we got to check the air pressure in that can and see if we've used it up or not. In which case, all we do is just charge it up with some more air. All right, so I just pulled all the plugs out, make Colin's job a little easier cranking this over. Now you can see all the oil. A couple still don't have oil on them, but that's all right. It'll get there eventually. All right, and then it's just gonna return down to the pan, and that's it.
Okay, back at Cooter's Garage here, you can see that Mike just put the bracket on the top of the motor. This is how we'll actually lift the motor up. The exhaust manifolds have been painted and put on the vehicle, or on the motor. Over here we have the intake, and I'm taking this fuel rail off. Right here, there's a pipe that goes across to the other side. You can see that this is where the fuel comes in. And the reason we're taking that off is, see these injectors right here? He has new injectors that are going in. There was a clip, basically this little horseshoe clip right here was installed on these. And all I did was just take my fingers and just pull the little clip off. So I'll be able to lift this off and separate these injectors and put new injectors on it.
So these are Delphi's. These are 42 pound per hour injectors. I guess they came out of an 8.1 liter marine motor is one of the applications. They probably fit other 8.1s. So a guy that I follow on YouTube, if anybody watches Richard Holdner's videos, and there's others, they have this formula that they use to figure out kind of roughly ballparking what size flow rate you need for your injectors. And so the rule of thumb is, what is the rule of thumb? Oh, the pounds per hour of the injector times 16 as the, I will call that number. But anyway, take your pound per hour rating and multiply it by 16, and that will give you your theoretical horsepower.
Okay.
So if I take these injectors are rated at 25 pounds per hour times 16, it's 400 horsepower. Which means this motor should make about 480. The injectors at max duty cycle, which is probably 85%. They can't go to 100% because they need some off time to cool off. Be limited to about 400 horsepower, which this motor factory is 350 tops.
And what does a injector like this cost if you were to buy these?
This set is about 200 bucks.
200 bucks?
$200 to $300.
Yep.
These have very little runtime on them, so we're going to stick them in. We're going to clean them out, blow them out with air.
And you can explain that an electrical signal comes in here.
Yeah, so these at 42 pounds per hour times our 16 will give me a theoretical max of like 672 horsepower. So more than enough, so we won't have to run these at maximum duty cycle. And the engine tuner just needs to know there's some, these are a little dirty, you can't see it, but there, I believe there's a QR code on there. There's a GM part number. So he needs that information to program the HP tuners, because what'll happen is the computer will open this at a certain duty cycle, meaning a percentage of time. So 80, let's say 85%, if it was 1 minute, would be 85% of a minute they would be on.
And is there there's a plunger in there it's electromagnet, so you're basically opening up a plunger to let the fuel flow?
I believe these have a disc, and there may be some holes up in there to get a nice spray pattern.
Okay, yeah.
So it'll pull that plunger off the seat, and it's moving. I don't even know if you can measure it.
Yeah, well, that's got to be lightning fast.
Super fast and a super small amount.
Yep.
And they're rated at 58 pounds of fuel pressure, which is GM's kind of standard fuel pressure where their engines run at. So as you increase the fuel or decrease the fuel pressure, you'll adjust the flow rate of the injectors. So anyway, with the information from these, the tuner will be able to plug that into the computer
And adjust it accordingly.
and we'll know, we should be able to dial it in, and
So-
the injectors won't be maxed out.
So I'll be taking these 8mm bolts out and lifting the fuel rail assembly off of the
and
intake.
And then we'll take these apart. I've got new O-rings ordered, so we'll pick up the O-rings and put all new O-rings on these.
Nice.
And plop them back in there.
All right, a nice look at the fuel rail. Had to use a little penetrating oil to get them out. You can see these are the gaskets. I'll magnify in down there that are going to be changed. One on the bottom, one on the top. I'll be pulling all of those out.
If you want, I'll show you about the fuel system while you're videoing.
Sure.
So
Let's talk fuel system.
This is I don't know what year they went to this. This motor's from an 04 or 05. They went to a returnless fuel system. So although it has this fancy AN adapter, this would be where your flexible fuel line from the frame would clip in right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to follow me over here, I'll show you on the... Now forget about all the aftermarket stuff on here, but the way we regulate fuel pressure on the growler is with this Corvette filter right here. And I have a spare in there I could dig out and show you, but that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the fuel filter and the fuel pressure regulator. So you might recognize that.
Yep.
It's just a GM fuel pressure sending unit from a similar year truck. Keeps it easy to get, easy to replace. These blue adapters take the clip-on fittings and change them to AN number 6. And then we run AN 6 hose, a pressure feed into here, and then it sets the pressure and regulates it and sends it back through here. And then one line here feeds the engine, which connects to that blue line on the fuel rail.
Right there.
So in addition to this, I do have it's not a regulator, but I have a port up front with a fuel pressure gauge on it, just to verify fuel pressure. Just so if we're out on the trail and we need to, see if we have it, we can check and ensure that we do have fuel pressure.
Yeah.
But the pressure regulation is done right here. in
Right
this
there.
filter.
Right there.
Tried to use easy to come by parts. That's off a Corvette application. It was not used in the trucks. The trucks used a different system, but that works really well. Makes it easy to change the filter, makes it easy to get a part for. And yeah, that line just runs along the frame all the way up here under the hood, which I don't have open to show you yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right, Mike has just got the plug wires all set coming off of the coil packs. Put some oxidation inhibitor on the ends of those wires as they snap over the spark plugs. Very nice, looking good.
Yeah, these manifolds too are stock manifolds off a Cadillac CTSV, I think like an 09 to 12.
Looking good.
And they work really good for us.
Looking good. Okay, we're drilling through some JB Weld. It was imperative for this PCV valve that we had the exact same size hole as the original. This black piece that's in the vise was probably like a 3/8. So we filled it with JB Weld, and now you can see we got like a 1/8 inch drill bit going through it. Kudos to JB Weld, man. That thing pretty damn nice. Okay, we're putting the wings on the this is the steel stamp front bumper for a JK. This was mine. You can see it comes with a nice skid plate for the sway bar disconnect. Gonna paint it black, and it's gonna find its way on Lisa's Jeep. Got some covers right here that I had built. We're gonna paint all of this up. Just kind of hides all of that. There's one for each side. Got a skid plate here that'll mount inside. Mike's gonna be getting a synthetic winch, so there we go. Okay, the front bumper, we took the fog lights out. We're gonna degrease it, wash it all off, the front and rear bumper. Mike's got some nice paint. We're gonna paint these things up. Grab Lisa's Jeep. Throw these freaking bumpers on, man. These are sweet. All right, Mike had used his oil. I have a video that Mike sent me how he basically pumped oil in this thing under pressure, and he saw it coming out of the rockers and so forth. So he knows he's down just a little bit of oil, so he grabbed some more oil. We ran into a little problem getting gaskets. We got some gaskets coming in tomorrow for these fuel injectors. The ones that the auto parts store had were not the right ones. You can see the fuel rail sitting right here, the intake. So a little bit of a delay there. But meanwhile, we started working on front and rear bumpers for Lisa's Jeep. Steel stamped Mopar Jeep bumpers. Okay, here we are at Cooter's Garage. Colin got out of school. We're gonna start prepping the growler. We wanna move it over here and get it into position. We're basically trying to prep things for tomorrow so that we got Dwayne coming over, Big Tim, and we wanna try to get this motor back in the growler. All right, Colin's got the ass end of the growler lifted up on the fork truck. And basically, he's just trying to swing this vehicle around and get it lined up on the lift, get it into position for tomorrow so that we can get this motor installed. Crazy. Kind of exciting, though. Tomorrow should be pretty fun. Too heavy? Oh, you're popping wheelies, huh? Rebuilt, upgraded motor goes back inside the growler tomorrow. Pretty exciting. Yes, sir. That's looking mean. Okay, you can see the growler is being pivoted right around on that wheel chock. Don't forget, we can't, there's no steering linkage at all hooked up or anything because it's hydraulic steering. So basically they lifted up the ass end of the Jeep and they're just swinging it around.
Need a bigger garage.
Nice, almost there. We can roll it back.
Need to lift it up higher? Now we're clear.
Yeah, clear, looking good.
Maybe we turned it this way.
Wow, what a great job. Yeah,
Snap off the concrete.
nice. All right, the growler is in location. Tomorrow when we grab the motor, we'll bring it around this way and come around from the front and drop it into place.
Yeah, I think tomorrow what we'll do, the wiring harness is through that hole there. I want to measure the diameter of that hole. We can do that today, actually. I want to get in there and kind of wipe down the firewall.
You gotta find a ground on the side, right?
Yeah, but I don't know what size to order because I don't know what size the hole is.
Yeah.
Through in there.
Is there oh, I thought you brought tape over.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So if you give me the dimensions, I can plug it in. I can do some math.
I can't really reach. It's hard to.
I'd like to edge that with something a little more robust. You could pull the wiring harness out of there. It's gonna have to come out anyway.
Yeah,
All right.
change for the
See, we just took the motor stand, brought it over here, get it. Just trying to prep everything for tomorrow. The foreman on the job, Dwayne's coming over tomorrow, old creeper.